Carita, this is outstanding.
Yes.
Explain where we are to everybody.
You are in the Behalt, which is a painting that's 10 feet tall, 265 feet long, and it is a painting that tells the story and the history of the Amish and Mennonites.
It literally is the expanse of an auditorium.
Yes.
And it was painted by one person?
Yes. And it is the only cyclorama in the world painted by one person.
Incredible. Who was that?
Yeah, so the artist was a man named Heinz Gaugel. He was a German immigrant who left Germany after World War II, traveled to Canada, and just stumbled upon this area. And to his immense surprise, he had the same German dialect that everyone else around here did. And he must have felt at home for the first time since World War II. And so he moved here and lived here for 30 years. And then discovered this rich history of the Amish and Mennonites and wanted to help them tell their story.
For someone who doesn't understand the difference between the Mennonites and the Amish, they're all represented here, but
yes.
What's an easier way to explain that?
So the biggest difference between the Amish and the Mennonites is in their approach to technology. The Amish have limited all forms of technology because they want to live closer in community. And so not driving a car forces you to get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
Mennonites, we love when we talk about community, but we don't have those same restrictions, or most of the Mennonites don't.
Now, a big majority of this is to come into the Behalt and take this all in, and then you have guided tours for that.
Yes, we give 30 to 40-minute guided tours for it.
And this is literally a history lesson. I don't know how you remember everything that you were talking about. It's incredible.
Yes, there's a lot to remember in 30 to 40 minutes because, I mean, there's 1,241 characters on the painting. So we could be here for a full 36 hours if we wanted talking about it.
I'll try not to take too much of your time. So then they visit this part, and then what are the adjacent areas people can visit?
So we also have a one-room schoolhouse and a barn. That's our outside tour. And that one, if you're interested in learning about how the Amish live today, that is your tour. This painting is much more historical.
As a Mennonite yourself, and having experience growing up that way, what is the takeaway from people when you have a sit down with them like we're doing right now?
Well, the takeaway for me for this painting is how can history challenge us today? You know, I always have to wonder, like I tell the story of this painting hundreds and hundreds of times.
Right.
So what is about the people's stories? They're a humble people. This is the only cyclorama in the world whose subject is not war.
Wow.
It's one of peace. And so what did peace mean for them back then? And what does peace mean for me now? Is my takeaway.
And yet this is challenging, I guess, in today's society to get people to wrap their head around something like this. However, you don't have to spend too much time in Amish country to realize it still is very much in existence.
Yes, it is. The Amish in this particular community are doubling in size every 17 years.
Wow.
So in 35 years, they're quadrupled.
And what do you account for that, do you think?
Well, they have large families, and they love their families, and they bring their children up in the faith. Yeah.
Tell me about your family.
So I have 3 brothers, and I was born into a Mennonite family, but my parents were raised Amish.
Okay.
So we're straddling 2 cultures, but my parents raised us with a lot of Amish values of hard work and unspoken dedication to family.
It's pretty special, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if people want to come visit, and they should, you're open year-round?
Yes, we're open 6 days a week from 9 to 5, tours at the top of every hour.
So tell me about the museum. What are people seeing?
So the museum has a bit of everything. We have a lot of books for sale. We also have books on display, old books from this community, important books to us like the Martyr's Mirror. We have a display of women's head coverings and all kinds of different things like that.
It's nice. I mean, it's so reflective, and it gives you really a good footprint for what the Amish community is all about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you.